It is my distinct honor to introduce this year's valedictorian, Connor M. Good. In his 4 years at Columbia, he's gathered an impressive body of creative work and made significant contributions in media scholarship and media culture. And in these 4 years, we've had the pleasure of teaching and learning with him in the television department. Connor's major is television writing and producing, and he couldn't have chosen a more perfect vehicle to embody the college mission, to communicate creatively, to shape the public's perceptions of issues and events, and to author the culture of the times. One half of Connor's authoring comes in the form of television script writing. His vibrant scripts hint at the promise of his professional writing life to come. Let me share with you the moment I first glimpsed his promise. Connor started his freshman year in my writing class. His ideas were big, his writing was good, but like most freshmen, it was undisciplined. I assured him that he just needed more practice and more time. Beginning of sophomore year, Connor brought me an original pilot script he'd been working on all summer, practicing. He wanted me to work on that script with him outside of class and enter it in a contest in December. I was skeptical. He was barely a sophomore. And then I read the script. After reading the first page, I could see that he was able to pack a few short lines with emotional resonance. There it was, the glimmer of artistry. Connor's script won second place in that competition. Yes. The first of many other awards and many other entries. His win also encouraged other students to enter, and it taught me to let students begin early in their career. The other half of Connor's authoring comes in the form of media criticism. He's presented scholarly papers at respected academic conferences. He's become an important new voice through his podcast called Media Query and his Tumblr site called The Audience is the Message. There's one more thing I'd like to tell you, and it's something that will stay with us after Connor graduates. And it's the work he's done to reimagine the TV department's undergraduate internet journal, watercoolerjournal.com. Write that down and take a look. It is spectacular. Like every other online journal, it used to publish academic papers, reviews, interviews with TV writers and producers. But now, with Connor's touch, the journal looks like an online gallery space. Next to conventional academic essays, you'll find Tumblr blurbs, memes, video essays, supercuts, and vines. These new visual forms expand the very definition of what it means to write for and about the medium of television. This is the future, and people like Connor will continue to invent it. And speaking of the future, next week, Connor will begin his life after college in Los Angeles. He'll continue his podcasts and his writing. He's finishing up a Hannibal script. He's started on another original pilot. But on Monday, he starts an internship with the Producers Guild of America. The new season begins. And now, we call upon the scholar of the class, Connor M. Good, to come forward to give the valedictory address on behalf of the 2015 graduates.
That's going to throw me off my game. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to just everyone who made today happen. On a personal note, my family, because if I don't thank them at some point, I will never hear the end of it. They're up there. Thanks, Mom, Dad, Christine, Graham, Taylor, and Emery. I'd also like to thank a few of my friends, just a few who helped me get through this thing. College, life, whatever you want to call it, you've been through it. First, there's Liz. She's unabashed in how clueless she is and unafraid to admit that she's had not 3, but 5 donuts today. Underneath all of that, she just wants to find something worth living for on top of her crazy job. She works for NBC. Peggy is a lot like Liz in some ways, but she's tougher and easier to set off. I don't hold that against her, though. In fact, I'm usually totally behind her. She just wants people to take her seriously, and I totally get that. Let's just say her workplace is frustrating. She's in advertising. Finally, there's Marshall. He's a little bit younger than me, but I can still connect with him in so many ways. His hometown of Overland Park, Kansas, reminds me of my own, and his plight with coming out, liking someone who doesn't like him back, and figuring out how to be gay, well, it reminds me of my own. If you haven't figured out already, these people aren't just my friends, they're fictional TV characters. I don't know if this is sad, but I think many of you know what I'm talking about. But like my real-life friends, they were there when I needed them to be the most. I found out I was gay at a Christian performing arts camp. I always love dropping that line when meeting people or going on dates or socializing, so to use it here seems practically obligatory. It was the aftermath of that bombshell, though, that kind of rattled my life the most. Getting people to see me for who I was and hoping they still stick around, that was the toughest hurdle. Coming out, but being taken seriously for it. It was a few months after I started the whole arduous process that I discovered the TV show Lost on DVD in a local library. And something about it, the timing, the world, the experience of the characters, confiding in me their whole lives, every secret they shrouded, everything they wish they had done differently, something in that just lit me on fire. I was starved of it. So I did what any kid that age does when something makes them feel meaningful. I got obsessed. I rewatched episodes, I took online quizzes, I called into fan podcasts, I investigated all those secret Easter eggs that were hidden in the show. It got bad fast. Actually, on the way here, they gave us these numbers for like where we would be lining up here, and yeah! My number was 16, so I just had a moment, but like that happens every once in a while. But that's a mysterious strain of numbers in the show, if you don't already know. But another example, one of my high school English teachers put together this verbal quiz to finally stump me and find a weak spot in my immaculate lost knowledge, and he took out class time to do it. One of the questions was something like, name the 8th episode of season 5. I'll just say someone was embarrassed that day, and it wasn't me. Now, I knew at the time that this all didn't mean anything, but it kind of did. As ridiculously cheesy as it sounds, I found myself thanks to Lost. And enunciating that to the world in any way I could was like its own coming out of sorts. Thanks to Lost, I met Liz in 30 Rock, discovered Peggy in Mad Men, and connected with Marshall in the United States of Terra. I saw them and they saw me at a time when I felt like I wasn't being seen by anybody. And it just so happens they did it through a TV. Liz, Peggy, and Marshall are why I write and make, because I need to recreate new Liz's, Peggy's, and Marshalls for someone else who needs them. So from the very beginning, it was obvious to me that what I do has been inseparable from my innermost insecurities and desires, from where I bleed. There's this weird assumption, I think, in our culture today that you can draw a line between your personal life and your professional life, and that maybe you should draw that line, but I wonder if that really is the case, especially for us. It definitely wasn't for me. Wounds without art cannot heal, and art without wounds cannot bleed. I'm sure if you dug into why you do what you do, and why you still do it, that you'll find something there that just hurts a little bit maybe at first, but that's what started it all for you. It's why you're here for audio arts and acoustics, dance, radio, television, theater, arts conservation. Don't we study the world for science, mathematics, and arts conservation? That includes you too. Don't we study the world to respond to it in order to make the sense of the chaos in our own lives? If at first you look and you don't find your wounds in what you do, which some of you may, I encourage you to keep digging. But don't just keep cutting them open. Let your work help you find them. And don't turn that project in until it has your DNA all over it. Because if we as artists fail, it is only when we do not spill ourselves over, when we do not discover something about ourselves, when we do not share our flaws with the rest of the world. Because our flaws and our passions need each other, and I think right now, the world badly needs our flaws and passions to stay together. So much of what we call art today presumes that we are unwounded, that we wander the world without scrapes or bruises, that we're just perpetually looking to buy something new and add a new shimmer of satisfaction and fulfillment to our lives. That what drives us are brands and Apple Watches that will bring us happiness and intimacy rather than organic experiences that come from relationships and connections. That we can buy a better, more whole lifestyle. This kind of soft, safe, compliant art has no Liz's, it has no Peggy's, it has no Marshalls or Lost. It keeps us from connecting, from moving, from pushing forward or going anywhere at all. In a world that desperately needs our attention, there is nothing more dangerous than disconnecting like this. So I don't mean to be that person that ends their graduation speech with, "It's our responsibility." But as artists, the byline of ideas traces back to us. It's our decision. We can choose to stir the culture or not. Right now, that's up to us, Columbia College Chicago, class of 2015. I think we should remember, though, that the kind of art that moves us, it moves the artist first. Congratulations, and thank you.